Hello, Admiral Peacock. Did I happen to see you in the conservatory with a lead pipe or a noose? Anyway, enough clue jokes. You had a question about agnosticism and why do agnostics have to pick a side? Because apparently some atheists have been asking, theists or whatever have been asking you to pick a side. Okay, so let's see if I can address this. The problem that a lot of us atheists have with agnosticism is that, well, it's essentially taking a kind of hands-off approach to questions of theism. So, I mean, or of theological questions. So, if you ask an atheist a theological question, they can answer it. If you ask a theist, presumably, well, they will address it anyways, or try to answer it. So atheists and theists basically can be asked to take a position, and they will, usually. Agnostics are just essentially choose not to answer. Agnosticism is the position of not, as one way or another, choosing or being incapable of answering. Okay, so this sort of... Okay, so the thing is, agnostics basically use the phrase "I don't know" as their trump card, and they can use it at any level and at any time they want. So, simply by sitting on this trump card, they avoid scrutiny, or you guys avoid scrutiny. So you're essentially saying, "Don't scrutinize me. I'm not taking a position." Okay. That's fine, you can do that, but you should see that this is very much like the theist position, because the theists basically say, or they use God as their trump card. This is God works in mysterious ways, or God is above whatever my scrutiny, or whatever. So God becomes their answer for everything, and so they get to sit on their trump card, and they just refuse to accept any scrutiny in that way. So the problem us atheists have with agnostics is just that all you're doing by being agnostic is you're changing your trump card, and you're acknowledging only one logical fallacy, that is the false dichotomy, or a potential logical fallacy, and you just decide it's always there, and that for every yes or no question you decide there's a third answer of "I don't know." And okay, but why are atheists so concerned? Why do atheists want you to take a position? Well, I don't speak for all atheists, and no atheist does, but the thing is, atheists, they themselves, we ourselves, put it out on the line. That is to say, we have a position, and typically we're open about it, and we're open to any scrutiny, and we're just intellectually honest about it. If you just ask us questions about any theological question you want, we'll just answer it, and the discussion can just go, right? The discussion is there, waiting to be had. Agnostic ultimately is just the process of discussing something with an agnostic is just frustration, because the agnostic will always take the position that you can't know. Not a lot of progress in this universe comes from just rushing to the answer "I don't know" without even giving it a shot and trying to examine or engage your brain. So, I guess I could just give an analogy here. But if I were simply to ask you, what's your position on 2 + 2 = 4? You'd probably say, well, it's probably true. Even theists agree to that, probably. But that's only been proven from axiomatic mathematics in the last 100 years. Furthermore, chances are you don't know the proof. I don't know the proof. I've seen the proof. I've tried to walk through a little bit of it, but it's a very complicated proof, it turns out. So what are we supposed to say about that? I mean, what do you want to take an agnostic position on 2 plus 2 equals 4 because you don't know the proof? I don't know the proof. Should I be agnostic about 2 plus 2 equals 4? The proof is apparently quite complex. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and accept that 2 plus 2 equals 4. I'm just... So, anyways. Okay, I just want to finally make the point also that, agnostics like to claim Carl Sagan as one of them. But this is a bit disingenuous. You see, Carl Sagan, when he was asked about his religion, he was always reluctant to talk about it. And he would only, if pushed, would he declare that he is agnostic. Now, the other thing about Carl Sagan is he's written a lot of books. He wrote the series Cosmos. He co-wrote it with his wife. And Carl Sagan has taken a very anti-religious stance. He's decried religion, supernatural thinking, and logical fallacies over and over. In other words, he's taking essentially the effective position of an atheist, but at the final stage he was simply unable to satisfy himself, right? And there's a reason for that, because for a guy like Carl Sagan, the only avenue for real answers for him is science. And science by itself is not taking a position on the existence of God or not. It's just taking a position on evolution and so on. So, I mean, so here's the thing. If Joe Blow just decides to declare himself an agnostic without being pushed at all, you just say, oh, I'm agnostic. That isn't the same thing as Carl Sagan's position as an agnostic, because Carl Sagan isn't just an agnostic. He's a scientist, or he was a scientist, that has essentially beat back every religious argument, but in the end couldn't bring himself to declaring himself an atheist. When Joe Blow just goes, oh, I'm an agnostic, doesn't mean anything. As an agnostic, basically you can take the position, is the world 6,000 years old? I don't know. Is the Bible the perfect word of God? I don't know. Is the Quran the perfect word of God? I don't know. Is there a flying spaghetti monster? I don't know. This is the point. Declaring yourself agnostic is not a declaration of anything relevant or useful. It's just a declaration that at some point you're going to answer a theological question with, I don't know. So, that I think is the substance of why atheists would prefer that you take a position. You, of course, can choose not to take a position. But you have to understand that we recognize you as somebody who, arguing on theological basis is a bit just silly, because we have no idea what your position is. You haven't actually declared a position, because we don't know at what level you're going to start saying, I don't know. And we also know exactly how it goes at that point. We'll argue you to that point. You'll start saying, I don't know, and you'll just sit on that trump and be inaccessible, essentially. So, what it means is that if you want to be part of the discussion and not essentially be a computer program that's completely predictable, then simply being agnostic is not going to help your case. That's about it. Those are my thoughts. To be later.